All right, guys, I wanted to make this video because I get a lot of Snapchats, direct messages, Facebook messages, tweets, and I do my best to try to answer every single one of them. However, there's a lot of the questions that I get that are repetitive. And so what I decided to do was kind of put a feeler out there and said, hey, if you guys have any questions that you would like to have answered, send me a video Snapchat question and I will answer it and put my answers and your questions on YouTube. So this gives me an opportunity to answer a lot of the questions that I get a lot of the times, but then also to be able to show you guys a little bit of love and put your Snapchat, feature your Snapchat on this YouTube channel. So anyway, I appreciate all the questions. Got some really good ones, and I am going to do my best to answer as many of them as I can, as quickly as I can, to get that information to you guys. So hopefully you can apply that into your own life. And without further ado, let's get started.
Hey Steve, quick question. What pre-workout do you use?
So that's a great question, and my answer to that is what I do with pre-workout is I cycle on and I cycle off. So for example, currently I am taking True Grit Pre, and what I'll do is I'll take a pre-workout for 4 weeks, and then I will switch to a different pre-workout for 4 weeks. Like maybe I'll take Cellucor C4 for 4 weeks. And then the next 4 weeks, I will get completely off of pre-workout. And what that does is it allows the pre-workout to remain effective for you, because if you take the same pre-workout every single time you go into the gym, the first time you take it, you're like through the roof. Your energy level's high, your freaking workout's great, your pump is great, your focus is great, your endurance is great. But the longer you take that, the effects are going to be reduced over time. So if you only take it for 4 weeks and then you take another a different pre-workout with maybe some different active ingredients, and then you get completely off of pre-workout for 4 weeks and just replace that with like branched chain amino acids, creatine, beta alanine's another one that you don't have to cycle on and off of. If you do it that way, that will give you the most bang for your buck, so you're not taking pre-workout and not getting the effects and wasting your money. And also it keeps your body from kind of building up a tolerance to the caffeines and to the other active ingredients that increase your workload capacity.
Hey Steve, if you have one thing to say to anyone to help him achieve his goal as a motivation, what would you say?
Very broad question, so I'm going to give you a broad answer, but I'm hoping that this gives you specifically some insight, and I hope you guys, the other guys watching this, find value in that. In order to reach any goal, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you know, at your job, in a sport, relationship goals, any of those, I think it's very, very important for you to identify the vision or the dream that you have for that facet or for that goal. You know, once you identify that, then you need to set micro goals of achievement in order to get to that overarching goal. So let's say something generic like I want to lose 60 pounds. Okay, if you want to lose 60 pounds, that's a big goal. It's going to take you a long time to achieve that in a healthy manner. So if that's the case, let's create some micro goals that will help you get there. Okay, so the things that I know that you can apply into your life that will help you lose 60 pounds, well, 2 of them are free. You need to drink at least an ounce of water for every ounce of weight that you have. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need to be drinking at least 200 ounces of water. So I would start with that. That should be your first goal. Tomorrow, I want to drink 200 ounces of water, and create that habit for yourself of, you know, every 10 or 15 minutes, you're drinking, you know, 5 to 10 ounces of water. And then you'll get into the habit of every 10 minutes, you know, you're drinking water. And one thing that can help you to be able to more effectively create those life habits is to set alarms on your phone. Every 15, 20, or 30 minutes, you get a reminder, hey, dummy, drink water. So that's the first thing, you know, create micro goals. So you want to start drinking water. The second thing that actually will help you lose weight, which doesn't make sense, but it does, and that is getting 7 hours of sleep a night. And that's something that I struggle with. But if you want to lose 60 pounds, you want to keep that weight off, because that's the most important thing. It's not losing the weight, it's keeping the weight off. So setting micro goals of achievement, and every time you drink 200 ounces of water or get 7 hours of sleep, you'll get that sense of accomplishment, because that was a goal that you set for yourself, and it's also getting you closer to your overarching goal, which is losing 60 pounds. And you should have a plan of, okay, every 7 days, I want to lose 5 pounds. And then you get a sense of achievement every day when you're drinking 200 ounces of water. You're getting 7 hours of sleep, and you're not going to be perfect. You know, don't let not hitting your goal one day completely throw you off of the track of success. However, it's very, very important for you to have micro goals of achievement. So if it takes you 3 or 4 months to get to a goal, it's very easy to get overwhelmed, and it's very easy to get distracted and sidetracked. But when you have micro goals to focus on, that is very, very helpful. But that was an excellent question.
Hey Steve, how would you advise people that have a desk job to get their metabolism going because of their sedentary lifestyle?
Good question. I know this is something that a lot of people struggle with, either as a student or as an adult, when you have a desk job, and the vast majority of Americans have desk jobs. So the most powerful aid that you have in your life is this computer that everybody carries around with them. And I set constant reminders on my Apple Watch to remind me to do things. So when, if I have a desk job and I know I'm not going to get very much physical activity, I will set reminders in my phone, every 30 minutes, every 40 minutes. You know what? Let's take a walk, and we'll go up 5 or 10 flights of stairs every 45 minutes. Now, if you do that 1 time per hour during the course of 8 hours, by the end of the day, you did 80 flights of stairs, and that's 30 minutes of cardio. So that's just one very simple way to constantly keep your metabolism burning. And I guarantee you, if you hit 10 flights of stairs 1 time every hour for 8 hours, you're gonna lose weight, and you're gonna have more energy because you're getting some blood pump going during the day, which is going to increase your focus. It's going to spike your metabolic rate, and you're gonna freaking lose weight. So I think just little tips and tricks like that are very, very easy. And also, 2 things that are vastly, and I mentioned it earlier, that are vastly underutilized or free, and that's getting 7 hours of sleep, which I don't do a very good job of, and also drinking an ounce of water for every pound of body weight.
Hey Steve, I'm on week 4 of Armageddon. I just want to know, how much cardio should I be doing? I'm 15% body fat, trying to cut down. As a follow-up to the last question, for how long should I be doing cardio for?
Great question. So you're in week 4 of Armageddon. Freaking knuckles, bro. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you're loving the program. But at the base point, the genesis of why you're doing Armageddon is to get bigger arms. In order to get a muscle group to grow, you need to be in what is called a caloric surplus. You need to be eating more calories in a day than what you're burning. Very, very simple. So in order for your body to grow, you need more calories than what you're burning during the day, so it can create something larger than what it is right now. And the same thing goes for getting leaner or burning fat. You need to be in a caloric deficit, so you need to be eating less calories than what you're burning during the day. Now, this is difficult for people to know exactly how many calories they're burning during a day, unless you go get a VO2 max, and nobody's going to go get their metabolic rate tested. However, there's trial and error. But in your particular situation, if you're asking me what I do, when I was doing Armageddon, I grew 2.25 inches in 94 days, right? My sole focus every single day that I woke up, I asked myself, what am I doing today to get my arms to grow? That's how obsessed and how focused I was on that goal to get bigger arms. Because, I'd been in the gym for 19 years and had never been able to get significant growth. Now, granted, my arms grew during that 19 19 years of grinding in the gym, but never significant growth. I would get significant growth to my shoulders or to my chest or to my legs, to my back, but I could never get significant growth to my arms. And that's why I always felt like, you know, my chest was developed, my shoulders were developed, my back and my legs, but I didn't feel like my arms matched the rest of my body. And so I went on a 94-day journey, and I'm like, everything I do during this 94 days is going to be geared towards getting my arms to get stronger and get larger. So I was in a caloric surplus, and I didn't do a lot of cardio. The only cardio that I did were playing sports, you know, whether it's a basketball pickup game or, you know, running outside with the kids, or, you know, maybe I'd do a charity 5K. So I didn't do a lot of cardio. Now, during the last 25 days, when I was on my Armageddon journey, I actually started to prep for a muscle and fitness photo shoot that I didn't know was upcoming. So they called me about 30 days out. So I was 60 days into Armageddon. I had 30 days left, and they said, hey, we would love to do a photo shoot on you because we're seeing on social media, you know, this Armageddon program that you're putting yourself through is working really, really well. You look like you're in great photo condition. We'd love to do a photo shoot. And I was definitely like big and full and strong when I got that phone call, but I wasn't as lean as what I want to be for a magazine shoot. And so then at that point, I started to go into a caloric deficit, which I'm sure affected my progress to get ready for that photo shoot, but I was still able to get 2.25 inches. So if I wouldn't have gone into a caloric deficit, dude, I might have ended up with 2.5 inch progress during that 94 days. But to go back to your question, I would do cardio only as needed, because you have to think about what you're trying to accomplish during your Armageddon 12-week journey. You're trying to get bigger arms. So why don't you just focus on the nutrition plan that's included in Armageddon and really, really get the most out of your workouts. And then when you're done with Armageddon, then at that point, I would start doing fasted cardio about 4 or 5 times per week. And what you do when you do fasted cardio, you wake up, you drink 20 ounces of water with a scoop of branched chain amino acids, and the first thing you do is get your heart rate up to 125 beats per minute or higher, and you want to keep it there for at least 25 minutes, anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. And what that does is, when you do fasted cardio, it, instead of going to your stomach for the food that you ate for energy, because you've been sleeping for 6 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, however long it is, you haven't had food for at least 6 hours. And so your body has nothing inside of the gas tank, your stomach, to burn for fuel. And so at that point, your body goes to your adipose tissue storage, AKA your fat storage, for energy. And it will burn up the surface fat on your body for energy at that point. That's why they call it fasted cardio, because you have been fasted, and then you get straight onto cardio. And that's the most effective, fastest way to burn fat from your body.
Steve-O, my man, what's going on? Got some sweat equity going on, back day for you. My question is, what makes you want to do everything you do for people?
Dude, that's a good question, man. Thank you. The reason I do as many things for as many people as what I do is I feel so incredibly blessed for the opportunities that I've had in my life. Now, granted, I've worked really hard to earn all of them, but I'm not that far removed from being that 14-year-old kid that had dreams and aspirations about becoming a professional athlete, and I was able to live that dream. I did it for 10 years. I won a Super Bowl, had some amazing life experiences, and I'm still having amazing life experiences, and I'm really kind of leveraging that celebrity from those achievements and trying to inspire, and trying to help people realize that they're so much more capable than they give their self credit for. So whether that's charitable efforts and, you know, going to Ghana, Africa, and building a school for a village there, or maybe it's something as simple as just taking kids shoe shopping before school starts back up. And because I remember what it was like to be 14 years old and go back to school and have a brand new pair of shoes. And I didn't grow up with a ton of money, but my parents always made sure that I had clothes on my back, shoes on my feet, and food in the fridge. And so for me to leverage the achievements and the blessings that I've had in my life to help positively impact other people, to me, I don't feel like it's an opportunity. I feel like it's an obligation, because I've been very, very blessed.
Hey Steve, how's it going? So we need help on pre and post workout nutrition. Any idea?
Pre and post workout nutrition. So let's think about what we're trying to accomplish when we're working out. Now, depending on what type of workout you're doing, let's say it's weight training. Well, at that point, you want to make sure that you're getting anywhere from 25 to 40 grams of protein about 60 minutes before you work out. And very, very important, this is what a lot of people neglect, is making sure you're getting at least 32 ounces of water and you're drinking water throughout. But carbs, people feel like carbs are the energy, or are the enemy, and actually carbs are energy. So if you don't get some type of carbohydrates in your system 60 minutes before you work out, your energy levels, it doesn't matter how much pre-workout you take, your energy levels will not be able to sustain a 60-minute, 70-minute, 80-minute workout. So 25 to 40 grams of protein 60 minutes before you work out, and I would say anywhere from 50 to 80 grams of carbs 1 hour before you work out, with 32 ounces of water. And then when you work out, your anabolic window is about 90 minutes. So as soon as you get done working out, the clock starts. You have 90 minutes to get 25 to 45 grams of protein in your system to start the repair and rebuilding process. And then you also want to get 50 to 70 grams of carbohydrates in your body to start the recovery process of rebuilding, because when you are lifting weights, you are creating tiny little micro tears in the muscle, and proteins are the building blocks for building muscle. So when you create these tiny micro tears, the new proteins that you put into your body will repair those. And over time, you repair, you rip, you tear, you repair, you tear, you repair, you tear, you repair, and it just builds a bigger, stronger muscle. And so nutrition is a very, very important component to that. So I hope that was helpful.
Hey Steve, my name is Thomas Chapin from Fairhaven, New Jersey. I'm a local punter here, and I'm just wondering what your tips are on getting more flexible.
I had a problem with this when I was in high school, because I went from probably 5'9", 108 pounds the day that I checked into high school, and the day I walked across the stage at graduation, I was 6'2.5", maybe closer to 6'3", and I was 225 pounds. So I gained 117 pounds in high school. Some of it was height and a lot of it was muscle. And I started to have back issues right around 16, 17 years old, because I put on so much muscle mass so quickly, I didn't take time to stretch. And so I had some back problems. So I had to learn the hard way how important flexibility was, and I started reading books, because back then it wasn't like you could go pick up your phone and be like, oh, hey, let's go to bodybuilding.com and figure out how to get flexible. Let's go to Men's Health or Muscle and Fitness, or let me look at somebody's Instagram page to figure out how to get more flexible. I had to go to like a library and read books. And the books that I read were very, very helpful for me, and it was real simple. I just kind of concocted a stretching routine that would increase my hamstring flexibility, my hip flexibility, and also my quad stability. And with that routine, I would do it the first thing in the morning. I would wake up, brush my teeth, and I would stretch for about 8 minutes. And then I would stretch before, like basketball, soccer, or track practice, and I would stretch after. So I would get anywhere from 24 to 30 minutes of static stretching in every single day, but I would do that at three different times. So I think it's very, just like nutrition, you can't eat all of your proteins and carbohydrates in one meal and expect that to help your body. It has to be in installments. And so I did it 3 times a day. First thing in the morning, I would do it before or after practice, and then I would do it before I would go to bed. And my back problems went away, my explosiveness increased, my speed increased, and my jumping ability. I went from high jumping 6'2" my junior year to 6'9" my senior year, and I actually got heavier, but the only thing that changed is my flexibility went through the roof, because I was very, very consistent on making sure I stretched for 24 to 30 minutes every single day. Great question.
What's up, Steve? For people who have a hard time gaining weight, what would you recommend food-wise to eat and
So the question is, what foods would I recommend to eat for people that have trouble gaining weight? Well, that's me. I'm what's considered a hard gainer, and the reason is it's a blessing and a curse. I'm gonna have abs, unless my lifestyle is completely off the rails. I'm always gonna have at least some semblance of abs. But in order for me to pack on muscle, I've got to eat, and I've got to eat a lot. I've got to be in a caloric surplus all the time, which, for people that don't have a high metabolism, they're like, oh, I'm so jealous of you. But food to me is not like something I enjoy anymore. It's almost kind of like a chore. It's like, oh, it's been 3.5 hours. I need to eat again. And so it almost kind of becomes like a chore. And I don't view food as something I look forward to. It's like it's like working out sometimes when you don't want to work out. You're like, oh, I know I don't want to do it, but I need to do it in order to get to my goal. So to answer your question, you need to be getting carbs, proteins, and fats every 3.5 hours, 4 hours at the very most. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to put weight on, you're not going to gain muscle. And you can train as hard as you want and make all the excuses in the world that you want, but you need to view eating every 3 to 4 hours the same way you view working out or practicing your sport. It's part of the process, man. That's part of the sacrifice that you have to make in order, to overcome a genetic predisposition like a high metabolism.
Okay, my question to you is, how young were you when you first started lifting, and how dedicated were you when you?
I was 14 years old when I first started lifting weights. I was 108 pounds. I was 5'8". I love sports. I was athletic, but I was too weak in order to compete at elite level. So if I wanted to compete at an elite level, I needed to kind of create or develop an elite work ethic in order to put on weight and get bigger, faster, and stronger. And so I went to the library, read a ton of books, and applied what I read from those books into my nutritional and my training routine. And I was able to gain 117 pounds in high school and earn scholarships to every sport that I played in high school, and I played 4. So, yeah. By the way, dude, God bless you, bro. I appreciate your service. That was really freaking cool to get a Snapchat from a guy in the Army. So I appreciate what you do.
How do you stay balanced? Like on the day-to-day, you're always doing something from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. How do you find that balance?
That is my biggest life struggle right now, is making sure I am compartmentalizing the amount of time that I spend chasing my goals, the amount of time that I spend philanthropically, the amount of time that I spend with my wife, the amount of time that I spend with my kids, and the time that I spend, on my body, in my own health and wellness journey. So the best thing that I found for myself up until this point is taking about 30 minutes every Sunday night and kind of creating a plan of the things that I want to accomplish this week. And then I spend about 5 minutes at the end of every day reviewing what I did well and what I failed at. And so for the next day, I can kind of revamp my plan and try to accomplish what I failed at the day before. But, failing to plan is planning to fail. So, if you got a lot of things that you want to get done in your life, you have to take the time to plan. And, if you've got to plan out, to every 30 minutes of your day because you're that busy, I freaking do that. That's what I do. I've got a phone call from 10:30 to 11 a.m. And then at 11 a.m., I would give myself 20 minutes to eat lunch. And then from 11:30 until 12 o'clock, I'm going to be in the car on the way to the gym. And then from 12 o'clock until 1:15, I'm going to be in the gym. And then from 1:15 to 1:45, I'm driving back to the office. And then when I get to the office at 1:45, I've got a phone call at 2 o'clock. And, I've had days where I've been so busy that I had to budget in time to go to the bathroom. But it's the most effective life habit that I've developed. Planning is key.
Steve, my question to you is, do you eat anything or take supplements during your workout to refuel your glycogen stores?
I'm not a big fan of eating during a workout. You know, I might throw a scoop of branched chain amino acids, you know, in a 32-ounce water bottle and sip that while I'm working. I don't think it's imperative. You know, I like to get into a gym. You know, I already have my plan and my workout planned out for every single day. And so what I do, I get in there, I spend about 8 minutes stretching, and as soon as I'm done stretching, 65 minutes later, I'm gonna be out of the gym. You know, I love supersetting, I love high intensity training. I hate cardio, so I don't take a lot of rest while I train, and it's been good for me because I've been able to find a way to get the most out of the 60 minutes, 65 minutes that I spend in the gym. So I superset a lot of movements, and I like strict body splits. I don't love going chest and triceps, back and biceps. I like to do just chest one day, just back one day, arms one day, shoulders one day, legs one day, and I get in, my intensity level is high, my reps are usually high, I'm a high volume trainer, and my body responds well to that. The other people that I've put programs together, bodies have responded well to that. So, you know, to get back to your question, scoop of BCAAs is the most that I'll do, but I don't spend 2-3 hours in the gym like some maniacs do, man. I get in and get out, but the one thing that I do that has enabled me to have long-term success is I don't ever miss a day. So I'm in the gym, a hard workout at least 6 days a week. And on the 7th day, it might be a bonus day for me where I'll go in and do a stretching routine, maybe 30 minutes of cardio and some core or some calves or some forearms, but I don't do any like compound training on the 7th day.
Hey Steve, can you tell us about your supplement stack? What supplements do you take regularly? Thank you.
I get this question a lot. What supplements do I take? And if I could recommend a stack that I think will work for everybody, I think a micellar protein is incredibly effective for everyone. Men, women, 14 years old, 54 years old, it doesn't matter. Micellar whey is a sustained release whey protein. And essentially what it does is it like constantly feeds your body over a period of about 3 hours, where if you take a whey protein is gonna be absorbed by your body within 20 minutes, which is great for post-workout, but micellar whey is great for post-workout, and it's great for pre-workout, and it's great to take before you go to bed. So I would say micellar whey, and I take True Grip micellar whey. I really, really like it. I've taken it for probably almost 3 years now, and it doesn't upset my stomach, and it has great effects. So micellar protein, I take glutamine. I take 5 grams of glutamine the first thing I do in the morning. I take 5 grams of glutamine right after my workout, and I take 5 grams of glutamine before I go to bed. So it's 15 grams. And the other thing that I would recommend is branched chain amino acids. And I take those I take a scoop of branched chain amino acids. Muscle Tech makes really good branched chain amino acids, and I also like Optima Nutrition branched chain amino acids. I take 1 scoop of BCAAs first thing in the morning with 20 ounces of water, and I put glutamine in there. A scoop of glutamine, scoop of BCAAs, I drink that, and then I'll have BCAAs periodically through the day. I love candy, but one thing branched chain amino acids have done for me is anytime I want a sweet tooth, you know, you want like a Diet Coke or a Coke or ice cream or candy, you know, you get some really good tasting BCAAs, and it knocks that sweet tooth craving out because you're tasting something sweet. So Muscle Tech, I think it's called Amino Gin or something like that from Muscle Tech, is really good. So I would probably say during the course of a day, I'd probably have 3 scoops of BCAAs, and BCAAs are fairly inexpensive. You know, you could buy a can of that, you know, probably costs $30 and it lasts you a whole month. So micellar whey, glutamine, and BCAAs, you can't go wrong with those. If you want to get fancy and try something new, there is called Crealkaline, which is micronized creatine. I like that as well. I'll take that for 2 months, and then I'll get off of that for a month. So I cycle on and off of Crealkaline, which is micronized creatine, but I don't think that's imperative. I think micellar whey is imperative, BCAAs are imperative, and glutamine's imperative.
Hey Steve, how much should we actually use supination in our bicep routines? Is too much of it a bad thing? Does it overwork the muscle, or what?
One more thing, Steve. How can we peak our bicep more? Does supination work for that, or no?
So I think supination is a very important part of bicep growth, the same way pronation is a very important part of tricep development. Now, too much of anything is a bad thing. So for bicep supination, and for you, those of you that don't know what bicep supination is, when you're doing a curl and you turn your wrist at the same time, if you'll notice, my bicep will turn when I'm supinating like this. And the way that you guys can remember that is, if you're gonna eat soup, you're gonna scoop it like this into your mouth. Supination, and this is pronation. When you're doing a tricep exercise and you turn like this, that is pronating your tricep. So you're able to get a better peak contraction when you pronate versus just going like this. You pronate, you can hit that peak contraction more. So I do one supination bicep, at least one supination bicep exercise every time I do arms. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have a big bicep peak. I hate to break the news to you, but if you don't have a big bicep peak like some of your friends, you're probably never gonna have a big bicep peak, but that doesn't mean you can't have big arms. I do not have a big bicep peak. So when I do this, my arm is grown and it's bigger, right? But I don't have a big bicep peak right here. My arm doesn't go up like that, and that's just something that's genetic. So if you don't have a big bicep peak, you can do supination bicep curls and stuff like that, and it will give you a good bicep peak as possible, but that's something that's genetic. That's like calves, you know, dude, if you have really, really small calves, you can make them as big as possible, but you know, that's just something that's really, really hard to overcome.
I just want you to know, Steve, how much I'm sacrificing for the Snapchat. Dude, this guy's been staring at me in his truck for the past 5 minutes watching me make these.
And by the way, I appreciate you making a sacrifice for the Snapchat, bro. But think about it like this. I Snapchat pretty much all day, every day. How many weird looks do you think I get while I sacrifice for the Snap? Keep that in mind.
Hey Steve, CJ here from West Caldwell, New Jersey. My question is, if you could work out with anyone, who would it be and why?
If I could work out with anyone, I think it would be Michael Jordan, because not only was he the greatest basketball player of all time, his work ethic was absolutely off the charts from the books that I've read, and I've actually never met him or shook his hand, so I think that would be freaking insane. And another guy I wish I could work out with that, you know, rest in peace, is not around, is Walter Payton, and that's another guy whose work ethic was just through the roof. His work ethic was just as impressive and known as his physical talent. So I would say Michael Jordan or Walter Payton.
Hey Steve, love Armageddon. What are some of the best ways to slim down your core and the best core exercise?
The best way to slim down your core is very simple. It's through nutrition. You know, you can do all the planks and sit-ups and crunches in the world, but until you take off the surface fat, your core is not gonna get any smaller. Now, once you peel away the layers of fat, you know, with cardiovascular training, high intensity training, and nutrition, then at that point, the best kind of waist tightening exercises you can do would be planks and also vacuums. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of vacuums, but it's a way to retrain your abdominal wall to just be tighter. So if you guys don't know what vacuums are, I would look into that. That's an exercise that you do in the mirror at night, and it's like a 5-minute process. I've never got into vacuum training because I'm not that concerned with having a tiny waist. I would rather just peel the layers of fat off of my body and, leave it at that. I'm more concerned with, being a good athlete, being functional, being athletic than I am about having a really tiny waist.
Steve, do you count your macros to stay shredded? If so, what are your daily macro intakes? Hey Steve, this is Rosh again. Do you base those macros on your body weight?
So I do count my macros. Now I count them loosely unless I'm getting ready for like a photo shoot, and I only do photo shoots maybe twice a year. And my macros normally, and I stay pretty lean year round, anywhere between 5% body fat if I'm doing a photo shoot, and right now I'm probably 8 or 8.5% body fat. I always eat pretty clean for the most part. I do cheat meals once or twice a week, pizza, hamburgers, stuff like that. But I think that's actually very important to give yourself those cheat meals, because it really kind of re-triggers your metabolic rate to shoot back up. Let's say that your body is used to getting this type of fuel, and then all of a sudden you spike it up and eat a whole large pizza or a 1 pound hamburger. Your metabolic rate is going to shoot up in order to utilize all of those calories. And then while your metabolic rate is really high again and you get back onto a tight diet, then your metabolic rate is high, but your food is the same. So it actually works really, really well to stimulate your metabolic rate. My personal macros on a normal day are anywhere from about 320 grams of protein to 400 grams of protein. So I'm really pretty loose with it. And my carbs are anywhere from 300 to 450. Now, if I'm getting ready for a photo shoot, about 2 weeks out from a photo shoot, I'll take my carbs from 350 and it'll be all the way down to 150. And then 3 days out from a photo shoot, I'll completely cut carbs out, which really sucks because you get headaches, you have no energy, but I'll be shredded for a photo shoot. And then as soon as the photo shoot is over, I eat a large pizza to replenish my glycogen storages. But yeah, I would say for me, I weigh 240 pounds, 350 grams of protein and 350 grams of carbs is pretty standard for me.
What is the best way to shock a lagging body part?
The best way to shock a lagging body part, I am a big fan in overtraining. And that's one of the things that made my Armageddon program so effective, is I came at the muscle from 2 different angles. Meaning I had one day that was really heavy compound, heavyweight, lower reps. I worked in the rep range of 6 to 12. I did 4 or 5 sets. And then I would do that on Monday, and then I'd come back on Friday and do insane high volumes. I would do a dumbbell rack run and end up doing 120 reps with no rest. I would work in the rep ranges of 12 to 30, and I would do 3 and 4 sets of that. And so what that does is you're stimulating 2 different types of muscle fibers, and we only have 2 types of muscle fibers. So if you continuously work in the rep range of 8 to 12, you're getting a little bit of a combination, but I would rather have one day completely dedicated to type 2 muscle fibers and then one day completely dedicated to type 1 muscle fibers. And what that does is, if you're stimulating both and you're overtraining both, that's going to lead to strength gains, and that's also going to lead to volume size gains. And doing it twice a week is difficult for you to do. However, if your nutrition is on point, there's no such thing as overtraining if your nutrition and your rest and recovery is on point, which is really difficult to do. But I train a lagging body part 2 times per week, and I've been training my arms twice a week for 14 months now, and I've gotten very good effects for that. So my normal training regimen is Monday, I do Armageddon Mass Day. Tuesday, I'll do heavy shoulders. Wednesday, I'll do back. Thursday, I'll do legs. Friday, I do chest. Saturday, I will do Armageddon high volume, and then Sunday I'll go in and do light shoulder work, cardio, stretching, and core. That's the deal.
Hey Steve, how many grams of carbs and protein do you typically eat in a day?
I answered this question earlier. I eat about 350 grams of protein and 350 grams of carbs per day. I'm not as concerned with getting shredded right now. I'm still trying to kind of manipulate my size and, you know, maybe get bigger arms and grow my shoulders and bring my waist in. But for the most part, I live at about 350 grams of carbs and 350 grams of protein.
Steve, what's going on, buddy? I got a question for you. I want to know how many days a week do you do cardio? Thanks a lot.
I don't do cardio that often. You know, right now, actually, I'm doing more cardio than what I really ever do. I'm doing fasted cardio 4 to 5 times per week. First thing I do in the morning is I go on the treadmill in my basement, and I'll put the incline at 10% incline, and I'll put the speed anywhere from 3.5 miles per hour to 4 miles per hour, which is just a brisk walk. And I burn about 500 calories, and the reason I'm doing that is I'm a little bit soft right now. For me. Now, I know everybody's different. You'd be like, dude, you're not soft. But, you know, over the past 2 months, I haven't done one day of cardio aside from playing pickup basketball games. And so I want to bring it in a little bit. And I'm not really as concerned with my weight. I'm probably 240 right now. I think 235 is a good weight for me. But I'd just like to tighten up and get a little bit leaner, because Armageddon 2.0 is going to come out in about 8 or 9 weeks. And I've got to start making some videos and taking some photographs for that program. And so I want to look good while I'm taking those photos. So probably for the next month, I'm going to do 4 to 5 days of fasted cardio per day for about 25 to 35 minutes.
Hey Steve, what is your advice for collegiate athletes trying to stay lean but also get the calories needed on an everyday basis?
Now keep in mind, when you're an athlete, it's very, very important for you to have a degree of fluff. You know, anywhere from like 7% body fat to 10% body fat, that's a good place to be, because, you know, when you're 3, 4, and 5% body fat, you don't have enough surface fat in order for your body to draw energy from. So that was a struggle for me, because I was doing, you know, muscle and fitness photo shoots and stuff in the off season, you know, and completely shredded, you know, 4% body fat for a photo shoot, but I would never be able to play a basketball game or run in a track meet or play a soccer game at that body fat, because I would just completely run out of energy. And it's funny when people look at these different magazines of these fitness people when they're shredded to the bone, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so impressive. But what they don't realize is when you get that lean, you feel like crap. You haven't had carbs in days, you're dehydrated for a photo shoot, and it's just not a healthy way to live. And that's why people like diet down for a photo shoot, because you can't sustain looking that lean and being that lean longer than a few days, because it's just not healthy. You know, you have cognitive problems, and you don't have enough fats in your system for your brain to function properly. So don't be so concerned with being shredded that you manipulate your diet, because it's going to negatively affect your performance as an athlete.
What's up, my guy Steve, man? I'm here between classes at the University of Memphis, man. My question is, what in the hell do I got to do to train with you, baby?
The University of Memphis. Dude, I'll tell you what. If you come to New Jersey, or you come to Southern California, or possibly I come to your area, everybody knows where I'm at, dude. I Snapchat just about every single facet of my life. You're going to know where I'm at when I'm there. And if we happen to be in the same area code, you send me a Snapchat or slide in my DM, dude, and we will throw down. Appreciate the snap, though.
What do you recommend doing for arms after completing the 12-week Armageddon program? And are you currently working on a second phase?
So when you finish the 12 weeks of Armageddon, I'm hoping to get Armageddon 2.0 2.0 out in about 8 to 9 weeks, unless I run into some hiccups. But in about 3 weeks, I'm going to be looking for beta testers to help me kind of work out the kinks in the program and kind of get the feedback of people. So I would say in about 8 weeks, it'll be ready to roll. However, right now, I always recommend to people to go back and repeat weeks 6 through 12, because the first 4 to 5 weeks of the program is really building up the foundation and getting you ready for hardcore hypertrophy training. But if you can start the entire program over, but once you finish the 12 weeks, when you go back weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's almost it's going to feel unstimulating, and you're not going to get that soreness that you're used to from doing Armageddon. So I would repeat weeks 6 through 12, and then at that point, Armageddon 2.0 should be very, very close to being released.
Hey Steve, what were the biggest changes in your regimen to help you pack on the weight you did over the last year?
The biggest changes that I made in my training regimen from the 10 years that I played in the NFL to now in the last 14 months, I put on, I would say probably 17 pounds, and probably of that 17 pounds, I'd say probably 13 pounds of that is muscle, maybe 14 pounds. The biggest change that I did was I eat more, and I have the opportunity to eat more. It was really, really difficult for me to get in enough calories during the day to recover from the training that I was doing in the weight room, because my intensity and my workload volume has not increased from when I was playing. However, my body is able to grow more now because I can eat every 3.5 to 4 hours. Whereas when I was playing football, Tom Coughlin was our head coach, and if we had breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning and then we'd go to meetings, we'd go to the weight room, we'd have some more meetings, then we'd go to practice, I'm not getting out of practice until 1 o'clock. So I'm going literally 6.5 hours without any proteins or carbs. And that negatively affected me because I had really kind of reached the potential ceiling for muscular growth and strength development when I'm not eating enough calories and getting enough proteins and carbs during the day. So if I say I changed anything, I might train an extra day during the week because, you play professional football games on Sundays, and I'm not training on that day, and I'm not training the day before the game on Saturday. So I would train hard 5 days out of the week, and now I'm training hard 6 days out of the week, but I'm able to eat every 3.5 to 4 hours, and I think that's the biggest bonus. That has been the key in order for me to have the physical growth that I've had in the past 14 months.
Steve, have you ever been to West Point or the Army-Navy game? If so, which is your favorite team?
I have been to West Point, and I have been to the Army-Navy game, and I've been to a lot of really cool rivalry football games, but without question, that is by far the coolest. When you drive into West Point, it just feels like you're on hallowed ground, and that Army-Navy game is freaking insane. I've been to the Ohio State-Michigan game. I've been to the USC Notre Dame game, but there's something special about the West Point campus and the Army-Navy game. I don't really have a favorite. My tip of my cap and a big thank you to the cadets for their sacrifice and service, man. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm a big military supporter, so I don't play favorites, man. I just appreciate both of you guys.
Question, what's the best compound workout? Would you say it's the bench press, the squat, or the deadlift?
For me, I think the best compound exercise to physical growth in general is going to be the back squat, and there's several different reasons why, but the back squat in general requires more out of your body than any other lift, and there's actually scientific research has shown that your testosterone levels increase and also your IGF-1 levels increase. on the days that you do heavy squatting. So for example, a lot of bodybuilders will, on leg day, they will do legs in the morning, and when they come back for an afternoon session, that's when they will train their lagging body parts. So for example, they do a heavy leg day, they'll come back in the afternoon, and if they need to get their arms bigger, they'll work their arms the same day that they work their legs, because their testosterone levels are higher and their human growth hormone levels are higher. So I would say the back squat is definitely the best compound exercise. All right, guys, man, I'll tell you what, dude, this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys found value in my answers. I appreciate you guys taking the time to go over to my Snapchat, submit your video questions. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to answer all of them. However, the ones that I did answer, I hope they were insightful. I hope they were helpful, and I appreciate you guys. And if these videos end up helping, that's fantastic. If you guys have any questions, or if there's any other things you want me to answer, I'd like to get in the habit of doing these videos once a week, because I'm gonna start feeding YouTube with more videos. I'm gonna spend a little less time on Instagram, a little bit more time on YouTube. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.